Hello and welcome to today's video. So this time, once again, we're doing another 100 or so vintage paperbacks from that amazing Penguin collection that I got a few weeks ago. So sit back, relax, and let's get to it. Okay then, so we're starting off with the jacaranda tree. So there's going to be this particular run of Penguin books is from numbers 1001 up to 1099. So it's the next 100 in the big collection. Now, the good news is, in that run at the moment, I've only got 50 copies. So I would hope that the 50 that I'm missing, on the whole, I'm hoping that they're going to be present. There may be a few missing. I don't mind that. But on the whole, most of them are going to be present. And when we finish cleaning these, I'm then going to have them side by side with my existing collection, and I'll have them all into order, and we will then do a bit of a side-by-side comparison about how I choose the best copies to keep when I've got more than one, basically, to choose from. Now, I'm not going to do that with every 100, but I have been specifically asked for people have asked me, can you show us the companion, the comparison process rather, where you've got the books side by side and what makes you choose one above another. So that's what I'm going to do. So this video, and even though there's 100 books here, it does seem to be 4 massive piles. I'm going to get them cleaned as best I can, and then we'll do exactly that. So we're going to start off with our normal go through, take off any bits of tape if we can, and just get the books looking as nice as possible. And obviously anything that I've already got. So as I said, potentially 50 of these books are just going to be complete duplicates. So I'm not going to I don't need to keep more than one copy of a book unless it's something quite special or one of my favorites or something like that. So I will have a nice batch of spares. I reckon well over 1,000 books spare to get rid of. And if you are after any, it might be worth checking to see if I've done any book sale videos on my channel. So I do those. And I'm thinking what I'll be doing with the Penguins is basically I'll have different price points. So starting at £1, £2, £3, £4, £5, and then there'll be a few books which will be higher than that again. Special books and what have you. And I'll offer them here on the channel first. So do make sure you are subscribed to my main channel, because that's where I'll pop them on, just under Jules Burt. Ripple in the pages there. Look at this, 1 and 9p and then 9p. Yeah, that's a fairly tidy old copy. Famous Charles V. So obviously, as I said, some of these I've already got. Some of them will be improvers, hopefully, to the copies that I've already got. So I'll be able to do some upgrades, which is always a nice thing to do. Others may not be good enough to put in the main collection, or I may not have them, but they'll be worse condition than the one I've already got, or I haven't got them at all, and I will keep them even if they're in low grade, just as a filler until a better one comes along. And I'll just make a little note that it's a book that I need to upgrade, basically. That's the plan. But yeah, I think that's going to be pretty much the story for most of these books that are past number 1000, is that I'll have maybe 40 to 50% of them already, and the rest I'm going to want to hopefully fill in from the collection that I bought, and or just make a little note that it's one that I'm still looking for. The good news is that when you get past the first sort of 500, really, filling in the blanks of ones that you're missing becomes a much easier process. They're nowhere near. Sometimes the books are obscure or they might be tough to find, but when they do turn up, they're generally going to be fairly reasonably priced. So from that point of view, I think by getting the first 1,000 licked, I am well over the worst of it, shall we say, you know? But yeah, I've had a week off work, which has come at a very useful time with all these penguins coming my way. So from that point of view, I do count myself very lucky. So we'll see how much work we actually have to do on these. It may be now that we're over the worst of it, you know, things may get easier. At least I'm hoping they're going. And this post-1000 book period in Penguin's history is quite a nice time. I think the books are really nice to read. They were really sort of hitting it out of the park by now, you know. No sign of any sort of restrictions at all. War was very much in the rearview mirror, and Penguin were back to striving for excellence, you know, in their production of books. But if you've been watching my channel, you know all that anyway. 25th of May, 1977, Cheltenham. So the original owner of this collection, Alan, he would often write where, what date and where, the town at least, or city, where he purchased the book. And I think the earliest ones we've seen are about 1971, 1972. And I don't think I've seen much in the way of places after 1980. I don't think there's anything in 1980. So it does appear as if this was something that he did during the 1970s. Which, you know, people do that. I've known many people do that. So the main thing that was a bit of a detraction was that he was taping a lot of books. And so far, in this particular 100, we've not had that many to do. No doubt there will be some more as we come along, but so far we're doing all right. Slip that pile over there. In fact, the very next one is one with some tape. A little bit more the worse for wear, this little crime one here. And that's got a 5p in pen. How very dare they? Night Gunners of Bengal. Oh, definitely got this one. Some of the titles, obviously, I recognise, and I've definitely got this one because I recognise the title. Others are new to me, and I suspect they're the ones that I haven't got at all. But the thing was, when a catalogue would come through, I would always be checking the first 500. Then I'd move on. If there wasn't a lot in there, then I'd try and upgrade some of my first from 500 to 1,000. Rarely, unless it was an author that I really liked, would I get a chance to do books from 1,000 up, you see. So I would always go for the authors that I liked, but that would be about it. This sort of thing I probably wouldn't have bothered with. And I always thought, well, I'm bound to pick up some of these as I go along, which is exactly what has happened, you know. So it is, I guess, what it is, you know. It's that's quite nice, isn't it? Because Day of the Triffids wasn't that nice. So this Crack and Wakes is a nice copy. The copy I've got, it's weird because, you know, Alan here is making a note of where he bought his books. I remember when I picked up the Crack and Wakes, it was in the 90s, and I was going to vote. It was the national election, something we've had in the UK fairly recently. And it was in a church hall, and they had a box of books, and me being me, I couldn't help but have a little look. And there was a first of the Crack and Wakes, and that's the one I've still got. However, looking at this one, which is a particularly nice example, I may well end up swapping that one out with the one that we've just picked up there, because that's actually a really nice example of that one. The Case of the Caretaker's Cat. Earl Stanley Gardner. Dawn Among the Dead Men. That's cool, isn't it? Yeah, well, so far, and touch wood, there hasn't been as much work to do on some of these as we've had on previous lots, so that's a good sign. I'm sure we'll get a few curveballs, but that's to be expected. Right, Bristol. Sunny Bristol is where I say sunny because everywhere is sunny at the moment because we're in a bit of a mini heat wave. We're a delayed summer. So anyone who's in the UK is probably, and has not had to work, is probably making the most of it. I tend to shy away a little bit when it's really hot. I'm not a massive sun worshipper. I don't sunbathe. I don't sit by the pool. I do sit by the pool, but I'd sit in the shade reading a book. I don't ever try and get a suntan. I tan very easily, and my wife and kids are the same. They need to look at the sun and they risk getting burnt. So I take it very steady, personally. But I do like, you know, sitting by a nice cool pool, which I can dip in and out of, and have a book on standby, ready to rock and roll. My holiday reading last year was about 7 books. For various reasons, we've not actually had an overseas holiday this year. We decided against it. Quite a bit going on outside of, in just regular life, really. So we gave going abroad a miss this year. Our son's about to turn 18 and he's off to uni literally next week. So we've got that on our plates. And plus we've had some work done on the house. So, you know, you can't do it all, can you? You cannot do it all. Which was quite good because the timing, all of this timing came just as this collection surfaced. And I would have been struggling to get the days off to go and collect it if I'd have been on holiday, of course. A little scrap of paper someone's used as a bookmark. 6p. Can't believe it, can you? 6p. If this was in a charity shop now, you'd be lucky to find it for less than, like, they'd put like $2.99 on it, rare crime penguin or something. You know, if only they knew, eh? These uninformed charity shops. I say uninformed because I've been roped in to help price up books loads of times in charity shops, and I don't mind doing it on a voluntary basis to help them along. This is a bit dusty, isn't it? But dust we can deal with quite easily. Ernest Hemingway, yeah, remember that with him. I think this will be an upgrade. I think my copy of this isn't too good, but we'll no doubt see that a little bit down the line. Yeah, I'm quite pleased actually with how these are turning out condition-wise. They're better than I was expecting. So that is good news all round, if you ask me. The Hucksters. See, I'm pretty sure I don't have that one. I'm sure I would have recognized it. 1 and 6. Aphrodite means death. Look, the tape on this one's almost coming apart. Look, it just falls off in your hands in a lot of cases. And in fact, there's one that's been on the bottom which has also already fallen off. So when it's like that, you don't mind it, you know? Do. Left a few marks on the back, but, you know, it's as good as we're going to get. That's one I'm pretty sure I haven't got. Herself Surprised. It says K130. Second to the third, I think 55, I think is what it said. Fairly nice square copy, which is what we're looking for. This is a biggie, but it's Robert Graves, Count Belisarius. I do like Robert Graves. There's loads of his that I've not read, and I feel I should have read more at this point in my life, but hopefully I'll get around to a few more. I know my mum read a lot. I think she studied him at one point for a degree many moons ago, and I think she got quite into him. Yeah, 1954, but big thick one, that. Pretty sure I've got it, but maybe a little bit more ragged than that. McSorley's Wonderful Saloon. Definitely haven't got this one. I would have remembered the daft title, you know. McSorley. Vita Sackville West. Saint Joan of Arc. Well, there she is, having a fag. Don't know why we should be surprised at that. Everyone was smoking back then, or a lot of people. I should say the majority of people were smoking back then. Unlike today, where it's very much gone into a minority now. There we are, that's nice and flat. Look at this. Great Expectations, a future classic, of course. I didn't know this was part of the main Penguin list. I like Dickens, really do. I have a little run of his in Everyman, the very early Everyman hardbacks from the 1920s. That's the particular era I like for Everyman. They come in different shapes and sizes, but the ones I like have got little gold edges on them. They're really nice. And you can pick up, they published all of Charles Dickens, and you pick them up for about £10 each. A really nice little run to get together. I've got about 6 of them. The DA calls it murder. If the DA says it's murder, then it's evidently murder. That one's got a bit of tanning. He was another one of those authors that wrote an awful lot, wasn't he? Old Earl Stanley. Still fairly popular today, I think, with collectors. A little bit of tanning inside, but nothing too much. The headmistress, Angela Thurkle. Oh, and a little 5p in the top there. Lovely. Let's groove it. Missing link. Yes, all right. Not tip-top, but not awful. Walter de la Mare. Memoirs of a Midget. Blimey. Don't recognise that title. There we are. Perfect. All right. The Port of London Murders. And this one also looks like it's had tape on it, which has been taken off. So maybe it just fell off like some of the other ones we've seen, which has saved me a little job. This was a shilling or 5p, so it makes me think that Alan picked this one up in around 1970, where they were doing dual pricing. Just what I suspect. Puzzle for Fiends. Ooh, you fiend. It's a word we just don't hear enough of in the English language. Appointment in New Orleans. Death is no sportsman. Now, this is a pretty rough one by the look of it. And it's one I haven't got, I know, because I don't recognise the title. Ridiculously, I do know most of the books that I've got, even when there's this many penguins. But this is one I haven't got. So this is going to be one that I'm going to keep, but he's probably going to be listed as an upgrade, meaning if another one should come my way, this will be one that I'm going to try and replace with a better copy, you know? Because, you know, even I have standards. And it's only Cyril Hare, so I don't think it will be too expensive. It's going to need some glue in there as well. And then I think we've probably done all we can with this bad boy. Yeah, the old bookbinder's glue. It's good stuff, you know. It really is. Considering I repaired so many books over the years with just Pritt stick, which is absolutely fine and, you know, readily accessible. This glue I'm using now is about £8 a pot, so it's not cheap. But when you think of the amount of book gluing that I do, particularly, you know, when I bought this big collection, you know, it more than makes up for it. And I think I've already, I would say, you know, it's earned its £8 worth with the books that I've been able to just keep alive. Rather than get skipped or put in the bin. We don't want that, do we? These are old Penguin books. They deserve to live forever. Agatha Christie. One of hers that I really like, actually. Murder in Mesopotamia. Now this looks a really nice copy, except it's got some sort of, I don't know, some sort of mark. But I think this was published to celebrate the Collins Crime Club anniversary. What's this note here? A little local history while the other eye is on the snooker balls. 30th of the 11th, 93. Well, I wonder what that's all about. But yeah, so if you have a look, yeah, because the Crime Club's 25th anniversary, and they released 10 titles, and there they all are. And that'd be interesting to have a little look at. And one of them, of course, was this Agatha Christie, who'd always been a friend of Penguin's, but her paperbacks were printed by Penguin, Pan, and Fontana, which was Collins. Fontana was like the paperback offshoot of Collins, which was her main hardback publisher come the end. So ultimately they had the lion's share, but Penguin did a few odd things because Alan Lane, the founder of Penguin, was very friendly with Agatha, and they published her first 5 books at the Bodley Head before Penguins were ever a thing. Yeah, it's a typical copy of a crossword book. Some puzzles attempted, many not. And I'm pleased to see these two, and I'm hoping that these will be improvers on my own ones because I've had them a long time, and I'll probably keep my spares as reading copies. Yeah, Greek Myths Volume 1. I actually have 2 Robert Graves hardback firsts of Claudius and I, Claudius. Yeah, these are definitely improvers over my current ones. Yeah, I've got 2 hardback firsts, but they're not in dust wrapper. And I've looked everywhere, and the dust wrappers are fairly straightforward, but no one's facsimiled them yet, so I'm hoping that that does happen. I've had the actual books since the 80s. Yeah, that's really nice, that. Let's move them over there a little bit. So we're getting through these much quicker than I thought we were going to. Much quicker. But of course we do have the extra bit. Once we finish brushing, I'm going to have to put them in order. Then I'm going to quickly check online to see that there's no numbers that are missing that were never issued, and I'm going to check to see if any of the books only came out in like America, which is a bit more common later on. I don't think it's that common right now, but I'm going to just double check each 100 as I go along just to see if there's any anomalies that I should be aware of. Then I'll be able to go back and make a complete list of all the books that, if there's any in this 100 that I'm missing, but also if there's any that I've got that I want to upgrade, which I know there will be. But if you're a book collector, even if you get a set, there's always one or two you want to get better copies of. It's inevitable. (9T) or 9R? And I think a little bit of glue is required. Look at that, it's just coming away. So I think we can slide some glue in there. And you notice I don't put it right up to the very edge, because when you squish it down, it goes along anyway, so it'll come along to the right sort of edge. Lovely. Another big one here. G.K. Chesterton, Maisie Ward. A vivid portrait of Jane. So it's a biography of him. That's cool. My dad was a big Chesterton fan. He liked all the Father Brown books and that. I couldn't get into him. I did try, because my dad generally, we had very similar tastes. He liked the Hornblower books, he liked the James Bond books, as did I. But he was a big fan of Father Brown, and I never got into it at all. Speaking of Father Brown, there we are. His incongruity. Very, very foxdog cover this for the incredulity of Father Brown. But once again, the cover's coming away, so we'll put a little line of glue in, because this is one I haven't got, like the last one actually. There we are. And we will start to see the covers change a little bit now as we travel through time in the world of Penguin. Nice copy of that one. Don't know this one. About tiger hunting. Oh dear, that's the man-eaters in question. London Particular, Christina Brand. Lovely. May We Slope, Keith West. Death Among the Sunbathers, blimey. corners need turning over. There we are. 3 lots of pencil marks to take out. A triple whammy. Nest of vipers. There we are. Another crossword book. This one's got a bit of tape on. First one in ages which was had any tape. The New Statesman. Okay. Got quite an interesting recommendation at the back here. It says, look, the Pan Book of Crosswords, compiled by L.W. Burgess. Well, I've got those as well. So evidently someone, maybe the bookseller said, oh, you want to try these as well? It's a new series of crossword puzzles, and that Pan series ran for, well, a long, long time, and they did junior ones as well, so... And a little 10p. But on the whole, that's a pretty nice copy of that one. I think I've got this one. I'm pretty sure there's a few crossword books I'm missing, though, so you never know. I seem to remember, I'm pretty sure I got this one, though, but time will no doubt tell. Come away, Death, come away. The Long Escape of David Dodge. Yeah. A little glue required there. Lovely. The Arabian Bird. Definitely haven't got this one. I would have remembered the title. It's something so distinctive. I just would have remembered. Yeah, a little bit warm, but nothing to actually do on it. A view of the harbour. Okay. I do like Elizabeth Taylor. And I'm not sure if that's one I've actually got. Yeah. At one point, I did consider collecting her in hardback, but hardback first edition, but they're so expensive. I soon gave up that idea. And this one, sadly, has got some writing on the inside cover. Apart from that, he's all right. Death in Venice. And this one's got some tape on. Oh, look at this. So it's got 3 lots of writing inside. Second-hand price. We've got 6th of the 10th, 72, which is Cheltenham, which is where and when Alan bought this one second-hand for his collection. And then we've got this one, which is like a little potted review, which I think I'm going to leave because it's in quite a nice hand, and I'm going to just leave that. Tenant for Death. This is a nice clean copy. Yeah, really, really like bright copy of that one. Good stuff. Brilliant, right. Fer de Lance. Excellent. Never heard of it. Which is also good because it means it's one I haven't got. What's bad is it's in slightly lower condition, but we won't let that worry us. Yeah, not great shape, but not awful, you know. It'll do as a filler. The Bombard Story also got some tape on. Now, I thought that this 100 actually had the Hornblower books, but as I recall now, they're actually in the 1100s. So there'll be the next batch of main series that we get round to doing. I'm a little bit torn. I'm thinking tomorrow maybe I will do another 100 Puffin storybooks. I think that's what's calling me. You do have to sort of follow your gut instinct sometimes, and I don't want this to become a chore, even though I've been quite workmanlike with the way I've been cleaning them. But sometimes you've got to just get your head down and get the job done. And that's very much what I've been doing. I've got lots of people who've sent me wants lists and stuff, and if there's anything that you've seen that you would like, just send me a wants list, and I'll do my best to fulfill it as best I can. There'll be books in all grades and conditions and prices. So I will do my best. I am definitely cheap compared to many, many dealers. I get them cheap or reasonably cheap, and I knock it out cheap. So unless it's something very, very special, you know. That one's a little bit the worse for wear, but ultimately it's a copy and it'll do. The Tongue-Tied Canary. Picked up in Bampton, 30th of June 1973. For, by the looks of it, 5p. That's got tiny bottom of the spine loose. Now where's my screwdriver? Here we are. What I want to do is just tease a bit of glue into there, and also the second ply as well. That's the first ply. I'm going to use a bit of the excess on the second ply. So it should stick down quite nicely now, with a bit of luck. Okay, sorry for the sudden jump there, but my actual phone was overheating, apparently. It's really, really hot today. So I'm going back a few books. So I did this one. Absolutely beautiful, beautiful copy of Victor Galantz's autobiography, which is published in Penguin. What a great copy of that one it is. Followed by perhaps one of the worst copies in the collection. And this one, it's so poor grade that if I'm hoping I've already got it, but if I haven't, that won't actually go in the collection because it's too low grade. If it's really, really bad, I'd rather not have it. I'd rather just put it on a wants list and pick it up down the line, you know. I know if it's just got a few spine creases in that, I'll be absolutely fine to keep it. But that one was particularly rotten, and it's not like it's something that's mega rare or anything, so I'd rather just pick that one up down the line. Right. So hopefully business is back to normal. I'll keep an eye on the camera, making sure it doesn't shut itself down. But yeah, just come up with a little warning saying it was overheating. I just used an ordinary phone camera. In fact, my old phone. So I've always used Samsungs for my filming. And generally speaking, they do very well for me. So I've no real reason to change, but at the same time, I don't want that happening. But then again, this is the second long video that I've filmed today. I've done 2 today, and I have been putting this phone through its paces. But it should be able to handle it, shouldn't it? There we are, after many a summer. Just seeing that, looks like it's got a bit of the bottom of the spine. No, it's already been glued, so we don't need to worry about that. Someone's done our job for us. Sure, I haven't got this one. I did do a video a little while back, and it was all the Cerise travel books from the first 1,000 penguins, but I didn't go beyond the first 1,000. And I think I've probably got most of them now in this new collection. And it might be worth me revisiting those to try and do a bit more of a comprehensive overview of the travel titles. Wife to Mr. Milton, I got 5p on the front, that's a shame. Yeah, I think this might have been part of like a 5 that they released of Robert Grave. I'm trying to remember. They did do that. They didn't do many 10s, but they did do some 5s with other authors. Give that glue in a minute. Yeah, you can sort of feel it coming away. It's got a bit of spine roll, this one. We should be able to get some glue tactically in there without too much trouble. to hopefully let it live another day. It's not in the best of shape, unfortunately. This one is very, very rolled. There we are. Yeah, it'll do. It'll do as a stopgap. Reunion in Florida. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? Oh, look at the spine. Look, it's got a full sellotape spine. So this is going to be one that I'm probably not going to end up keeping. It's one I haven't got. I'm sure of that. Mm. Here we are. Yes. It leaves a horrible yellow stainage right down the spine there. That doesn't look great for anybody really, does it? But someone might be looking for this one. There may be people who just want these for a read. So I'll be happy to let it go cheap and cheerful just to move it on. Hemlock and After. 3rd of June, 72, Stroud. A Summer to Decide. This looks like it's still got some tape in for some reason. Maybe this had a cover on it of some sort. Obviously not there now. Yeah, you can take the tape off. It doesn't leave any sticky residue at all. But it's not obvious, so that'll take some of the wording off. So I'm just going to have to leave that. It's not obvious why that would have even been put on. It must have just been for some sort of cover, a plastic sleeve or some sort, which is a shame because it's actually a really nice copy. It's done what it set out to do, which keep the book nice condition, but at the same time it has caused a little bit of damage. But it'll do as a filler. It'll definitely do as a filler. And Raymond Chandler, the little sister. Got 1 and 3 all the way down the bottom there. Lovely. The Deceivers. This looks like it's coming away slightly. Easily sort that with a swidge of glue. Tactically deployed. There we go. Yep, that's going to sort that one out. Just needs to set a little bit now. Lovely. Information received. Sounds like a spy thriller or something, doesn't it? Yep, lovely. Big thicky. Definitely haven't got this one from Aldous Huxley. This is great. It looks nice condition as well. Point counterpoint. Excellent. It was a funny one, wasn't it? Old Aldous Huxley. Yeah, lovely condition book this. Pleased to get that. Ooh, and a crossword book. The Observer third crossword puzzle book. About a quarter of the puzzles have been attempted. Usually just the first couple. Yeah, he's all right. Bernard Spilsbury, His Life and Cases. Don't recognise this. I guess he must have been some sort of detective. He wrote all his cases down, which I guess was quite fascinating to some. Department of Dead Ends. So it's got some tape on. Definitely has been less tape this 100. I mean, that's for certain. Definitely less to worry about. Oh, they come out. There we are. Oh, a little 8p. Hemingway. Whom? The bell tolls. A little bit of wear on this one, sadly. Another one to have and to have not. Much better condition on the whole. Bit foxing, but generally okay. Penguin 1001 is the 1001 Nights. This one I haven't actually got, so pleased to see this one in nice nick. Lovely. Another Huxley, Eyeless in Gaza. Sadly got a bit of tape on. It looks like we might be able to re-glue the top of the spine there, but it's like the book is fused together. And you find this sometimes with big thick books. Sometimes it's down to how historically they were stored. Sometimes it's because they got a little bit of water in there. Look in there, that's where we want to slop our bit of glue. That'll be enough. Time we squish it around. Only Alan had that tub of glue available back in 1970, or whenever he picked these up. Right, murder every Monday. Every Monday? Give an heck. 6p? 1 and threepence? There we are. The yew tree shade. I reckon there must be. I don't think there's any gaps here. It's. I reckon it was every single one from this first 100, from 1001 up to 1100. I think it was every single book. But until we actually get them out and put them all in order, I cannot say that with any sort of authority. Just my hunch, you know. Case of the Rolling Bones. This has got some scribbling on the front. That's a shame. Don't think I got this one either. But I will probably take it because it doesn't look too bad on the shelf. But I would definitely put it on the immediate upgrade list, shall we say, as one that needs swapping out. Should a better one come along. Yeah. To Catch a Thief. Bit of a classic, this one, I believe. 31st of July, 1972, Cheltenham. So it would seem to me that the majority of this collection, at least the books where Alan's recorded where he actually got them from, are only from about 10 or so different locations. That's what it seems like to me anyway, you know. A classic, Brave New World. You could say probably his biggest classic, isn't it? Is this one. It's a little the worse for wear. It's got some tape on as well. Well, we've seen worse. this was definitely part of an Aldous Huxley 5. Lovely. And then appropriately the last one is number 1000, One of Our Submarines by Edward Young. Edward Young, back in 1935, was a young office boy, and he was the chap who was dispatched to London Zoo to sketch some penguins. And based on his sketches, they came back and they designed the first ever penguin logo. During the war, he became a submarine commander and highly, highly decorated. And it was very appropriate to bring out his story as the 1000th penguin. And there we are. Look at this. This must be his obituary. Yeah, there we are, from 2003, which I will definitely keep with that. That's quite a nice little find. I've never read that before, so I shall look forward to that. Yeah, there he is. What a hero! What a hero, eh? Brilliant. So that's the 100 books cleaned up. Next stop then is to give them all a brush. Okay, so not quite the last stage, but it's going to be the next to last stage, because we're going to give them all a brush. And then I'm going to take these into the house. I'm going to pull down what I've got from my own collection in this particular branch of 100. And we're going to do the old side-by-side comparison. I'll need to put them into numerical order as well, of course. It's very, very hot here today in the studio. So I've opened the doors and got a bit of air in before I've even attempted this bit, and it should only take about 5 minutes or so. Starting my next pile. Sounds like someone's had the audacity to fire up a strimmer, but we are almost done, so hopefully it's not going to disturb us too much. We're on the last little bit here, and I said I'm going to take these all into the house, so we'll be not filming in the studio, but I'll be able to get them all out on the sort of the kitchen side where we've got loads of room, and it's also quite well lit as well. And I'll go through these in order. We'll put them in order first of all, then I shall do the old comparison, and I'll give you my thoughts, what I'm looking at when I am doing it. A lot of it you can almost tell at first glance by the spines, but not always. Sometimes you need to delve a bit deeper. All right, just got this last little pile here, so while the mower is mowing, hopefully it's not too distracting, and I shall gonna get these all boxed up. I'm ready for their close-up tomorrow, as they say. So I shall make that the first job in the morning. It's just better than hauling all 100 up into the loft where the rest of the collection's stored and getting them out. You can't really compare them very well. It's just easier to do it in decent lighting, and that's exactly what we're going to do, and I'll film the process as well, so hopefully that will go down really well. But here's the last little box, so I shall be back momentarily as you watch this video, and we will transport it into my kitchen to do a bit of comparison action. Okay, so I'm back in the house now on the kitchen side, and the pile to the left here, this is all the books that we've just been cleaning, and the pile to the right is the books that were in my collection. So as I said, there was pretty much a full run of almost all the 100 books here from the collection, but what I already had was about 50%. I had 50 books in my collection, and I've sorted them into piles of 20. So I'm just going to go through I'm going to make notes of any that I need to upgrade, any that I'm missing completely that are going to be top on my wants list. And I'm also going to make a note of the Abraham Games covers, because a lot of those are reprints, and I just wanted to make sure while I'm going through all the books that I've got everything listed. So let's get into the first pile. Right. So this should be fairly straightforward. So I've got, we say fairly straightforward. So I've actually got 3 copies of one of our submarines. Now you may ask yourself, why have you got 3 copies? Well, of course, it's Penguin 1000. It's one of the best ones. Now, straight off the bat, I think this one is probably the best looking one. And even I don't need 2 copies of this. So I think that's probably the best. Now, one of these came with a little review slip in, didn't it? Yeah. So this was the one from the collection. And I'm going to keep the Edward Young obituary in the copy that I'm keeping. And these 2 are going to be spare. Then we got 1001 Nights, which I didn't have at all. Then we got 1003. 1002 rather, which also wasn't in the collections. This is my own copy of 1002. 1003 was missing. Sounds good. Oh no, here we are. I've got 2 copies of 1003. That was my own one. That was the one from the collection. So that is a spare. We've got 1004. It's a new one. 1005. So we've got the tongue-tied canary. And that one, basically, it's got a whiter front to it. It's just less worn. You can see almost at a glance. So this will be the keeper's pile. 1006. So the man with my face. And it looks as if the copy from the collection is actually the better one of the 2. So that's the one I'll keep. I didn't have that one at all. Bear with a bodkin. With a bear bodkin. Didn't have that one either. It's a little borderline. I'm still not going to put an upgrade next to it. It's a little borderline. I didn't have that one. Same story. That one actually is a little bit worn with the things, but I don't want to get rid of it because it's the only copy I've got. So I'm going to make a note that 1009 is now on my upgrade list to look for a better copy of that one. 1010, didn't have that at all. 1011 I did. And it looks as if the copy from the collection had a better, if you have the 2 of them, that one had the better spine. And that's usually all you need, but I want to just check because some of these have got a few markings and things inside. 1012. So 2 pretty nice copies of that. But I think this one, which is the one I already had, was the better of the 2. 1013 I didn't have at all. 1014, the Hucksters. Now this is quite tricky because they're pretty similar. That one's definitely cleaner and whiter. So this one's got the edge. Yeah, so that's the one I'm going to keep. This one I did not have at all, 1015. 16 I didn't have. 17 I didn't have. 18 was the Arabian Bird, which I did have, and this copy is clearly the better example. And then number 20 of the 2, you can see that one's much whiter. It's got a bit of a darkened spine, but overall, this one seems much cleaner and unread. So that's it. So these ones here are now all going to be spares, and my own collection of the first 20 is that, with just 1009 as a clear upgrade. Just seeing if I want to add any more to those. So I'm going to do a quick recap. So 1000, 1001, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1008. Yeah, I think I'm going to put 1008 on the upgrades as well. So 1008 1009. Yeah, 110, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19. There we are. So that's the first 20 books done. Okay, so lot number 2. So the first one in my collection is 1022. So 1020. And 1021 appears to be missing. So we'll have a look at that in a minute, but certainly 1021 is not there. Probably a crossword book. 1022, need to consider which is the best copy. This one's squarer. It's got a mark on the front, but it's been well read, so I think I'm going to go for that one. 1023. Difficult choice here. And I need to check my Freeman Willscroft because I've got a couple signed, although I think they're a little bit later on. But I don't want to get rid of a signed one because that genuinely is scarce. There's not a lot between these two. I think I'm going to go for that one. That one's actually got a slightly split spine. 1024. Wife to Milton. That's a really nice one. This one from the collection's got a little 5p on, so I'm going to go with my existing copy. 1025. Same story with this. I've actually got a nice copy. Now these, I'm certain, these are my original ones. And they had a bit of worn spines, whereas the ones in the collection were much, much brighter. So I'm going to swap both of those two for the ones that were in the collection. I didn't have 1028 or 1029 or 130. The one in the collection looks like a much better copy. Yep, so that's a much better copy. So 1032 I didn't have at all. 1033, her self-surprise. So this one seems sharper. So I think that's the one to keep in this particular case. It's got a wider spine and that on it. And the last one, this was my original one. Sorry, that's the one from the collection. This is my original one, which is much better. And these ones here, I didn't have at all. So 1035, London particular, 1036, 1037, 1038, and 1039. So they were all new to me. So if I have a look now at this batch of 20 books, we are missing one. So we're missing 1021, which I've got written down. And do I want to upgrade any of these? It's borderline, but I think for now, those can all get away with it. So not a bad little lot, that. But it's such a hot day today that I have decided to open the kitchen door. So if you hear a few seagulls, well, it's because we're virtually in the garden here. But anyway, the next 20. So that's the one from the collection. This is what I had already in my collection. And the first one we got is The DA Calls It Murder. And it would appear to me, this is a difficult one because they're both similar sort of conditions. This one's got a better spine, but a little bit missing from the top. But it is a bit foxed, so I'm going to keep my existing one. And that'll be a double. Now, number 41 is this one, Great Expectations, which I didn't have, and I didn't have St. Joan of Arc. Incidentally, I did check numbers 1021. It was an Oscar Wilde. It wasn't a crossword book at all, so that'll be quite easy to get hold of. Next, we got Swan Song. Now, I think the copy that was in the collection is actually slightly better than mine. Very, very minor, but yes, it was. Then we got 1044. 1045 I didn't have at all. And this one I did, so it's one of the crossword books now. This is my existing one. About a third of the puzzles attempted. Here's the one from the collection. And this one's really, really tight. So that's the one I'm going to keep, and that's going to be The one that's spare. Now, this is a run of Aldous Huxley. Penguin published 10 of his all at once. The first one that I already had was Mortal Coils. So all of these were new to me, which is pretty cool. I read that one. Here's my copy of Mortal Coils. And I think the one that was in the collection is just better. It's got whiter pages. Yeah, no competition really. Brave New World. That's Brave New World. Brave New World's been on my wants list as one to upgrade for a long time. So I'm very, very pleased to get shot of that one because it's like slightly water damaged. And that one, really no competition. 1053. So didn't have that one, To Catch a Thief, or 1054. But 1054 with the scribbling on, that's definitely not good enough for my main collection. I'll keep it because it's better than not having one, but it's on the upgrade list. Now this one I did have, Rod of Anger, and the copy that I had was better than the one in the collection. So I'll obviously keep that one. So you've got The Affairs of Flavel. Yeah. Now, that one's got, this is the one I had, and it's got some writing and stuff on, and a bit of foxing, whereas the one from the collection actually is in really tip-top shape. So that's the one I'm going to keep. Now, this is the first Abraham Games. There are some that were printed before. So this is the first Abraham Games. Now, there were some numbered that are printed before this number, but they're reprints of earlier books. So I'll need to go back and check those. But 1056 this is a reprint, but it's the reprint with the cover. So I'm just making a note of these as we go along, really, because I wanted to do a visual check of all the games covers, because I'm going to do a little video on those. So 1057 is Byron in Italy, and this one is a much tighter one. So keep that one. Then we got The Unvanquished, which once again, you can see this copy here, it's just a cleaner copy. It's not got any marks and stuff like that on, so we'll keep that one. And this last one here, I didn't have at all, which is really cool because it's a good one. So if I have another scan over it, so for upgrades, I've put on number 1054 because it had that pen on the front. And looking at the rest of the spines, they don't seem too bad, in all honesty. There's probably some I would want to get rid of. In fact, 1050, I think I'm also going to put on the upgrade list. So 1050, 1054, as it has got, it's got a full crease down the spine, and the spine is split at the top as well. It just doesn't look very nice. So I'll put it on as one that I'd like to get a better copy of. But and I got the one Abraham Games listed as well. So all good. Okay, so here's the next to last 20. And we're starting off with Death is No Sportsman, which is 1060. Now, this one's quite heavily foxed, and it's got tape marks at the top and the bottom. So not the greatest of copies. So I'm going to put that down as an upgrade. 1060. 1061 is this one, which I already had. But that's the one I had was a better copy than the one that was in the collection. 1062. 1063, I didn't have either. 1064, so that was my original one which is foxed with a name on the front. And this is a much squarer, cleaner, tighter cover. So that's the one I'm going to keep. That'll be a spare to have and have not. So quite a difference there, because this is a really nice clean one. Got a little run of Hemingway coming up now. So that's the one I'm going to keep. That's going to be spare. For Whom the Bell Tolls. Yeah, once again, that is just the better condition one. Men Without Women. Yeah. Some of these you can almost tell at a glance. That one I didn't have at all. This one with the glossy cover, Incredulity, both of them very, very similar conditions. I think this one's got the very, very slightest edge, so we'll keep that one. This is Maisie Ward. Once again, not really any competition there. This is far, far better, the condition copy. Moonstone. Yeah, I thought I had a really nice copy of the Moonstone, and that is nice. This one certainly isn't bad, but it's got that little blotch on the spine, but it's a squarer spine. This one's been red, although that one's got the blotch. It's almost like much squarer, whereas this one's a bit more used, so that's the one I'm going to keep. Case of the Caretaker's Cat. So we actually want this one first, which is 73, which I didn't have. This was the next one. And the copy that I had is much squarer, even though it had a little blotch on the front and the back, in fact. This copy was the inferior one, so I'm going to keep that one. A favourite. So this is the copy I got when I voted. I mentioned that when I first filmed it. So although this is a lovely copy, the copy that I got when I voted is still, I believe, the better one. It's whiter in that. So that's the one I'm going to keep. I have also got, because it's Wyndham and he's my favourite author, I've got the reprint of that with the different jacket. The Night Runners of Bengal. Now that seems to be the squarer one with the over sticker there. So that's good. Now that also got reprinted as a games cover. So 1076. But it's a games cover that I'd like to upgrade. So I'm going to put a little UG next to it. And we've got Murdering Mr. Valfrage. Shear the Black Sheep. So this is one that was quite low grade, but thankfully I had quite a nice copy of it. So really, really pleased with that. We got the Bombard story. And this is number 1079. And then we've got Barchester Towers, which was the final one in the run. And that one, once again, much, much clearer. This is a nice, almost unread one. So a fairly straightforward batch of 20, that, and then we've got one more to go. Now, it should be pointed out that this one here, if you have a look, it's one of the little peculiarities. So there's two numbers, 1079. That's the correct one, Bombard story. This one here, although it's numbered 1079 on the spine, it is actually number 1180. So this needs to go out and come back when we do the next 100. Okay, so the last bit now, the last little batch of 20. There's the ones from the collection. There's the ones that were already in my collection. And we'll start off with 1080, which I didn't have at all. And it's a little bit borderline, but for now it will do. 1081 was Tenant for Death. And that one seems to be the really nice sharp example. 82 I didn't have. 83 I didn't have. But 84 I did. And once again, the copy that was in the collection is much, much sharper. So we'll keep that one. Now, 85, The Deceivers. This was the regular copy of it, which I actually didn't have. But I did have the reprint, which was the games cover. So we'll make a little note of that. So 1085, The Deceivers. 1086, I didn't have. 1087, that's got tape removal marks, so I have to go for that one. 1088, The Follower. I already had it, and the copy that was in the collection had a big spine roll, so I'll be keeping my original one. So it was 1088. This is 1089. The Masters, CP Snow, which I didn't have. The Department of Dead Ends is 1990. And the copy that was in the collection is far whiter, as you can see, than the copy that I had. So now, if you remember when we cleaned this one, the copy that was in the collection was really white and bright compared to my one, which isn't bad, but that one was a stunning copy, so I'll be swapping that. At 1092. So this one's straighter. That's got a circle on it. That's the one, isn't it? So this is 1093. It's difficult because this one's got the better spine, but it's got a few like bits of foxing and what have you. Let's have a look at this one. This one does, it's got the name inside and it has got a spine rub, so that's the way we're going to go with it. 1094, Famous Trials number 5. This appears to have the best spine and looks okay inside. Yeah. 1095, I didn't have at all. 96 was the same. Same with 97. That one's a little bit grubby. Tape removal marks and what have you, so not great. So I'll put 1097 as an upgrade. Well, look at that. The difference is massive, isn't it? I can't remember which pile is which now, but that's a much better copy by the look of it than that one. Yeah. So that one's a double. That's going to be saved. Now, very, very pleased to have this one. This was the copy that was in my collection already. And it's not actually too bad, is it? And that was the copy from the collection. Also, not a bad copy. But it did have a little tape removal mark and a little mark down the bottom. So that's the one I'll get rid of. That's the one I'll keep. And once again, I had the games cover of that one. So that's at 1099. And it's interesting that in this collection, because all these books are reprints, they've not been picked up by Alan. He was very strict in only picking up first Penguin editions. So consequently, some of them, they're just not there at all. Even books which were only ever published in reprint, like Grail Grange, for example. Anyway, there we are. So I hope you've enjoyed that little bit of the extra bit of the process. I certainly won't be doing that with all my videos. I just don't have the time. But that's basically what I'm doing after I've cleaned up the books. So I've got a pile to sell. These are going to be my doubles. I've got a pile going into my main collection, filling so many holes every single batch of 100. It's absolutely fantastic. And moving on to the next one. If you've enjoyed today's video, do please give it that thumbs up. Do please hit the subscribe button if you've not already for regular vintage book cleaning content. And I look forward to seeing you again next week. Thanks then. Bye.